To the movies we shall go, where we learn everything that we know. Cause the movies teach us what our parents don't have time to say. And this movie's gonna make our lives complete. Cause Terrence and Philip are sweet. Super sweet. Thank God we live in the quiet little redneck podunk white trash USA.
Hello, I'm Will.
And I'm God! Spoilers.
Yeah.
So, I hated that.
You hated that?
That was complete and utter shit.
Yeah, it was the worst movie I've
I'm
ever
lying out of
seen.
my ass. I liked it a lot.
Terrible.
It was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
The 3D was nice.
That was some of the best
Great
3D,
3D.
I've ever seen. That was.
You can't say that after we leave, like, every 3D movie. We're like,
I didn't think
Avatar, that was some of the best
Iron
3D
Man.
I've ever seen. Lion King, that was some of the best 3D I've ever seen. That was the best 3D I've ever seen. Calm down. Just say it was really
there
good 3D.
are year expanses between those three titles.
You get to say it was really good 3D, and it was okay 3D, and it was bad 3D. Not every good 3D can you say it's the best 3D I've ever seen. It's some of the best. Just say it was good. It was really good.
It was some of the best 3D I ever saw.
Fuck you.
I will put it up there that it's probably might be the best. It might be the best 3D I've ever seen. I love the 3D.
I hate that you say that after like every other 3D movie we see.
Name the last one I did.
Hobbit.
We didn't see The Hobbit in 3D.
Oh, no, that was the second time I went to see The Hobbit. Either way, fuck you. You're wrong. You stop doing it.
And I didn't think that about the Iron Man.
Do we see that in 3D?
Yeah, we saw it in 3D. Do you remember it being 3D? It's because the 3D sucked.
Go eat a dick. I'm just sick of you saying that about every fucking movie we see in 3D.
Name the last one.
The last movie we saw in 3D before The Hobbit. Since apparently I didn't see The Hobbit with you in 3D.
I don't remember that movie.
You say it a lot. You do.
Okay, this one, though, is some of the best 3D
Just say it was good 3D!
Why are you being such a bitch?
Because you do it every fucking time.
I know the camera's on, and you want to get a show, have a show, and show off, and be all fancy because that camera's on.
You do it every time. Every time a movie has good 3D, you walk out of there going, it was some of the best 3D I've ever seen. Every time it's good.
This time.
I just wish you would phrase it differently because you come off sounding like
every year you see a movie and you say that's the best movie I've seen all year. Every year.
I've never left a theater saying that.
You've never said that? That's the best movie I've seen so far this year?
I've never said that.
You've never said that.
You've said that. I've never said that was the best movie I've seen this year.
I'm sorry.
I said that movie was really good. I liked that a lot.
Well, I'm trying to think the last time I said that.
You say it every time.
I think it was
a movie
The Lion
has good
King.
3D.
I think it was The Lion
You said it on Finding Nemo.
No, I didn't.
And Beauty and the Beast.
No, I didn't.
Yes,
I bet you
did.
$1 million I didn't say it on Finding Nemo because I was disappointed in the 3D.
No, you said it after you left because you were still entranced by the...
I was disappointed in that 3D. You're just making shit up.
You said it
You're
on
just
all
pulling
three of
shit
those.
out of your ass. It never happened.
Yes, it
Beauty
did.
and the Beast was okay. Lion
You said
King
it
I
on
really
all
liked.
three of them.
But anyway, the 3D in this was spectacular. All the lens flares in 3D.
The lens flares...
All the little debris and the volcano.
lens flares were really...
The spear. Some of the lasers coming at you. It was fun.
So are you going to sit here for the next 10 minutes and talk about everything?
You're the one
3D?
that wanted to bitch. I was going to say it was great 3D. It's some of the best I've ever seen. And then I was going to talk about the fucking movie.
When 3D started getting big, you hated it so much.
How did I hate it?
You were one of those guys
Jimmy,
that said
you're
3D,
making shit up.
Will, you were one of those guys that said 3D was gonna ruin the movie experience.
Okay, I want you to give me dates. Give me specific.
You said it after we saw Avatar. You said 3D is a cheap gimmick and it's going to ruin some of the movie experience.
I'm the exact.
And then after every Transformers, regardless of our view on the Transformers, you said, "See, the 3D isn't there. It just takes away from a movie experience. It's a cheap gimmick."
I never said that.
You said those after the Transformers.
I never said that. What I did say is the 3D that they don't fucking work on that's not shot in 3D. Like I'm pretty sure this movie was. It must have been shot in 3D because Anyway, the stuff that's done in post-production is shit. Okay? But I love 3D. I've always loved 3D. I love 3D since I went to Disneyland when I was 7 and saw Honey, I Shrunk the Audience in 3D. Okay? Don't make shit up.
So hard
don't
about
make
3D.
shit up.
I'm not.
Don't
you
make
don't.
shit
You're
up.
trying to change it. Go. No. I've loved all these movie trends.
Up.
I predicted this. You hated 3D when it started
You're
being in movies.
so fucking full of it.
You hated it.
I love 3D.
You
I was
bitched
so
about it for a
excited when I
solid
was a
30
little
minutes
kid,
when we-
and
after we saw
Robert
Avatar.
Rodriguez did it. No, I didn't.
In the car. You complained about it for like the whole drive
I
home
might
and
have
more.
bitched that I didn't go fucking see it in 3D.
You complained about the 3D.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes.
I can't even remember that fucking ride home. Because I wanted to see that movie in 3D.
We did.
No, we didn't.
Yes,
we saw
we
it in
did.
2D because James was cheap.
We saw it in 3D.
No, we saw it in 2D.
No, we didn't.
We saw it in 2D.
No, we didn't, Will, because
No,
I
we
only saw
didn't.
it once in theaters and I saw it
No,
in 3D.
we saw it in 2D and I was disappointed we didn't see it in 3D.
Oh my
So
god.
maybe that's why you're getting confused.
No, we
Why is
saw
my
it in
seatbelt on?
3D. We saw that in 3D, Will. How do you not remember this?
No, we never saw
was
it in
the-
3D.
That was for,
When did you see it in 3D?
With you.
I was not there.
with you.
I
and
was not
James
there.
At the fucking middle of the night shit. When we all went and those two people approached us asking for money.
No, we did not see that
Yes.
in 3D.
Yes,
we did not see that
did,
in
Will.
3D. We never see 3D movies in 3D when we go with James.
Yes, we
It never
did.
happens.
Yes, we did. We saw it in 3D.
I never saw it in 3D.
I'm pretty sure that might have been how you started taking the 3D glasses with you. When did you start taking those with you?
I don't know. When I started paying money for it. Star Trek! And we're completely like in the shadows, I just realized.
You're the one that said to park here. I would have moved closer to the lights.
It was better when we started filming. I think it like focused or something. I don't know. This is what it's gonna look like, guys. I don't know why it changed. You're so full of yourself.
You're just trying.
I never said those words.
Yes, you have.
I've never said those words.
Yes,
and you want
you
to
have.
fucking attack me because I say something that I truly believe that this is some of the best 3D I've ever seen in my
You say
life.
that after
I
every
loved
good
it.
3D movie
Jimmy.
we see.
No!
Yes, you do.
Only when it's great 3D.
After every movie where the 3D is good, you say that was some of the best ever.
And you give me examples
Every
that are
time.
like years apart.
Every
When we saw
time.
Avatar 2009, when they re-released Lion King 2011, and this movie in 2013, every 2
Beauty
years
and
you
the Beast
say
and
this
Finding
shit.
Nemo and fucking the Avengers.
I thought the 3D was okay. I have fucking video documentation on my thoughts of the 3D on the Avengers. Okay?
Because I remember you
I
telling
have
me.
video documentation.
I remember you telling me a couple days later, no, the 3D in Avengers were really good. It was some of the best I've seen.
I might have said that. I might have believed it. I don't remember the fucking 3D in the Avengers. I remember this.
You have
3D.
like two extremes. You have that was total shit and that was the best thing ever. You can't just
Why
say
can't I
something
just
was
really
good.
enjoy stuff?
You can't
and
just
think
say
everything's
something
the
was
best?
good.
Why can't I think everything's the best?
You have two modes.
I think ice cream's the best. I think chicken wings the best, and I think blowjobs are the best.
You have two modes on everything you ever thought about. It's either total shit or the best ever.
Sometimes I think meh.
About what?
I'm trying to. I saw a movie the other day that I thought was meh. I'm trying to think.
The Iron Man 3?
I like.
Blazing Saddles?
But that's
Because those are the last two movies we saw
I
in
didn't
theaters.
think Iron Man 3 was the best thing ever. I thought it was okay. Pretty good, even. Unlike this movie, which I loved.
It's like, this annoys me too. It's like your shit of when something happens that you think ruins a movie. Like Anne Hathaway's acceptance speech. After
That
you
was
saw
the
it,
most
no, after
fucking
you,
terrible
let me finish.
Acceptance
After
speech
you saw it,
ever.
you said to me, this speech is so bad, it ruins the Les Miserables movie.
It almost
It makes
did.
the movie
It
not
was
count
that
for anything.
Terrible.
No.
I was at the hookah bar. I heard it corner of my ear. She started talking out of her noise tube, and I was like in pain.
And you're just, this acceptance speech that really doesn't have anything to do with the actual movie is so bad it ruins the movie for me.
It's kind of like finding Mel Gibson's a fucking Nazi. Finding out Mel Gibson's
that doesn't ruin
Nazi.
Braveheart for me. That ruins Braveheart for you?
But Les Mis isn't as good as Braveheart.
How dare someone who was in this movie have a political view I don't agree with?
In this
movie is ruined for me.
Fucking made the movie.
That's
a big difference.
How dare someone involved with this movie has a different view than me? The movie's ruined.
Can we talk about this fucking movie? Or are you gonna just look at me? That's you. Look at me. At my penis.
No, I'm using this to air this out because I hate when you jump to those extremes.
No, I really hated
those
that.
extremes all the time.
And
I get hating
we
the
talked
speech.
about this 2 days ago. You're the one that's fucking fixated on this shit.
I get hating
I'm not
the speech.
fixated
but
on the
how can
speech.
you hate the movie?
You're fixated on the fact that I said something that I fucking hated that speech. And I went to an extreme to illustrate how fucking terrible that speech is.
And then you tried to show me the speech, and you tried to show me the speech.
I couldn't find it on
and you
YouTube.
couldn't find a bit of it to prove your point.
No, you didn't.
You
hear
need
the
to
entire
show
thing.
me a bit to prove the point.
Have you heard that entire speech?
No, because I didn't care. I didn't care about her speech. I cared about the movie.
I shouldn't have cared about the speech.
I didn't give a shit about her speech.
I had the misfortune of fucking hearing it.
Why were you listening to something at a hookah bar?
It was in the corner of my ear.
Why were you paying attention
She started talking. Someone noticed it.
What hookah bar were you at?
We were at 40 Thieves, and they were playing the Oscars. It was Oscar night. I was with Hildebrand, Franny, and Austin. And we were all in agreement that was the most terrible thing we ever heard in our lives.
But it still doesn't constitute as ruining that amazing movie.
It's okay.
So you don't like Les Miserables either?
I said it was okay.
Because I loved Les Miserables.
Okay. I thought it was good, like Iron Man. I didn't think it was the best thing ever. I didn't come out of the theater thinking it was the best thing ever, like you did.
Iron Man 3? I thought it was the best of the three. Wasn't as good as Avengers. So in Star Trek,
we're going to talk about the movie now?
Do you not want to?
Yes. That's the whole point of this video. But you have to go and fucking talk about I don't know what.
Yeah, part one is to see if anyone will stick around, which they won't.
Of course they will. We've been yelling at each other for the past 10 fucking minutes.
The lens flare in the new Star Trek was significantly lowered from the lens flare in the other Star Trek.
But it was in 3D.
Like, you could still notice the lens flare, but it wasn't nearly as bad.
We're totally in the shadows.
Yes, Todd, we are.
I figured out what happened. Your fucking back window fogged up.
Well, I mean, you can go get the scraper and deal with it.
It's fucking summer.
And Will, it's a bit cold outside and we're very hot in here.
Or, actually, it's not summer till June.
It's the middle of fucking May. There's a rapid change in temperature because we've been in the black suits, sweating for the past, 3.5 hours.
I think you've been sweating longer than that, Jimmy. I think you woke up sweating. All right. Star Trek.
I wasn't the one who started undressing in the theater first.
Star Trek Into Darkness is awesome. It is a remake of Wrath of Khan. Spoilers. It is a remake of Wrath of Khan. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Or reimagining.
Reimagining. There's definitely... The plot's different. It has some of the same plot points, but the overall plot is different.
Yeah. Benedict Cumberbatch. I can't... Bach. Plays this character.
Cumberbatch.
John Morris. Batch.
John Harris.
It's John Harris. That's what I said.
I think it might be John Harrison, but you said John Morris.
Did I say John Morris? I don't know what I'm doing. Lost my voice because I had to fucking yell at you.
You should yell more.
I don't yell.
Yeah, it's good for the soul. Remember, anger only helps you in the end. Anger's never done anything bad for people.
Unlike you, I'm not yelling at 6-year-olds online.
When? Give me an instance.
When you're playing your video games.
Yeah, I don't talk to people outside of the group of friends.
Okay.
Outside of my friends.
I'm not dealing with Bo all the time, so I don't have to yell.
No, I yell at the Mexicans at work.
You're such a racist.
They don't do their job.
2 days in a row, or 2 movie filming things in a row that you've talked about Mexicans derogatory.
And what have you... At least, I didn't say the N-word like you did.
You said the N-word in the last video.
Yeah. Which actually makes it not 2 in a row that I've done derogatory terms about. They've been spaced out.
Okay. So let's talk about the fucking movie.
I'm gonna let you get off topic this time. You do that, keep doing that, I'm taking them, breaking them, and throwing them out the window.
Oh, great. So, lost my point.
I'll wait.
So, what did you think about Kirk being the one that dies instead of Spock? Kirk dies.
Spoilers.
Kirk dies. But he was only mostly dead.
You should have looked through his pockets for loose change. Anyway, I like that bit. It was cool that they switched it around. It was believable, given what their situations were at the time.
I guess if it was a little bit more of a complex movie.
Yeah.
And this movie wasn't as complex as Wrath of Khan was, which was a very complex movie.
I thought you said your camera has a light. Why don't you turn it on?
Because it's not going to look good.
It'd be better than us being in a shadow darkness.
You want to fucking press pause and fix it? Do you want to do it?
I wish you thought of this before.
Why didn't you think of this before?
Because it's not my camera.
Why are you leaving me up to things?
Because you're the big film guy who wants to do this for a living.
Apparently, I don't know what I'm talking about with films. So,
no, well,
so I
don't blame me because you forgot to set up the camera right.
I have no opinions on stuff, especially with 3D. I'm not allowed to say something.
You're right.
It's great.
You're right.
I'm not allowed.
No
to
opinions for you. You know what's funny? You're acting like some old. You're acting like a.
I'm Elton John in that SNL sketch.
Yeah. I was gonna say our mom when she doesn't get her way.
Hi, Mom.
She's never gonna watch this.
Hi, Mom.
Honestly, Star Trek didn't leave me with a bunch to talk about.
Well,
I liked it. I enjoyed it as a movie.
I wanted to talk about the implications that it leaves on destiny and how history repeats itself. But apparently you want to just yell at me.
You know what's fun? You're going to be all passive aggressive about this for like the next 3 weeks.
Dude,
it's going to be fantastic dealing with your period.
For the next 3 days.
No, every time I say something, you're going to be, well, I can't have an opinion about that. You know what you remind me of when you do that?
With someone that holds
you
a
remind
grudge.
me of Nathan Lane in The Birdcage when you act like that.
Well, the monster is gone.
Oh, please leave. I'll roll up the window and lock the door.
No, you won't.
Why wouldn't I?
No, you won't.
Why wouldn't I?
Because you'd have to reach all the way over here.
I'd do that to be an asshole.
To roll up this window. Which I know you can't physically do.
What, reach over there to roll up a window?
Before I come back and unlock the door and open it.
Yeah, but I think I can keep you out of this car if need be.
No, you can't.
I think I could.
No, you can't.
I think I could.
Can we talk about Star Trek?
Like I said, Star Trek's never really left... None of the movies have ever left a real big impact on me.
Not even the last one?
I mean, I liked them, but...
Well, I do dig.
Nothing life-changing or anything like that.
Do dig original series. I was about to say trilogy. As much as these movies are Star Warsy. Which they totally fucking are. I was watching the scene with the UFO. Just the UFO escape pod. It looked like a fucking flying saucer. And they're chasing him. Oh, we're gonna go in here. I advise against that. We're not gonna make it. I'm like, shut up, C-3PO. Because it's the scene with the asteroids and Empire. Reminded me of that. A little bit of Trench.
Or the fact that in every sci-fi movie with a space scene, they've used that. In every single one.
It was very Empire-y.
I'm just saying, they've used it.
You know it.
It was Empire-y because they might have done it first.
I think it was intentionally Empire.
But is that a bad thing?
This is J.J. Abrams.
Is that a bad thing?
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just pointing it out. I said I liked it. And I liked all the Indiana Jones like stuff. Did you catch on the Raiders of the Lost Ark?
But yeah, here's the thought I had. And I hope this is true. Star Trek has always had a distinct style to it.
Yeah.
And Star Wars has had a style to it as well. It kind of switched between the prequels and the original. But you could still tell it was in the same universe. I think the new ones are going to have a distinct style from the Star Trek. They're going to be distinctly different.
They're
in the visuals, in the actual visuals and what you see.
I'm just saying that those movies are very heavily influenced, just like Super 8 was, just like the originals. You know, all of J.J. Abrams is based off the movies he watched as a kid, which is great, because I love the movies he watched as a kid. Those are the movies I watched as a kid. Those are the movies I want to see. Again, you know, where Super 8 was Jaws, and Goonies, and Close Encounters, and I'm probably forgetting another one. I'm going to smack myself in the E.T. And, this was, not only Star Trek, but Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and when they locked up all the cryogenic things. I wanted to say the top men joke, but I didn't. I feel bad. Because it's being handled by top men. I wish it was darker.
I'm glad it wasn't. Because if you look back, Wrath of Khan at times was still lighthearted.
Well, this one was lighthearted, but like Wrath of Khan got very dark, and it was good dark. I just a little bit heavier, not like totally like shift into fucking Requiem for a Dream or something. And just a little. I'll be honest, I don't like watching movies that suddenly get this is really dark and depressing, and like I don't care. A slow build to it.
What, did you want to see more main characters die?
No. I just wanted
what do you mean by
a little weight on the events. Like, the Pike thing was fine. That was the tone I kind of wish they would capture again in the final act. Well, like, the Kirk dying thing was emotional. It's kind of like at the ending when those not billions, but thousands of people died. When that ship crashed, maybe they could have been a little more solemn about that.
All right.
Near the end, after it happens.
I got to give you my opinion of it. Solemn at what point in that movie? Without adding a scene.
Without adding a scene?
Without adding a scene. See, that's the thing.
But
they didn't need
or
to
not
add
even add a scene.
About
continue when Kirk's giving that speech at then. A little more.
All right, the speech
a little more
Kirk gave.
Emotion.
The speech Kirk gave at the end was not about the attack. It was about the christening of the Enterprise. He said that. But
he's talking about a year after the
crew members
event.
that lost their lives in the attack on the Enterprise. That's what that instance was about. They probably gave another speech to the people that lost their lives due to the actions of Khan, but we didn't see it because it wasn't plot-wise important. plot-wise, it meant nothing to us. Had it been in there, it would have been viewed as filler.
As filler? No. Thousands of people died. It's not filler to acknowledge that thousands of people died in your movie.
Avengers didn't do it. You didn't bitch about that.
Because I didn't see thousands of people die because they evacuated the city at then.
People were dying.
Yes. But it wasn't like fucking 9/11 attack. That's why they put that post-credit thing about 9/11. It's because...
See, I don't have a problem with the fact that they didn't write a memorial service for it.
No, I'm just saying, if you acknowledge that thousands of... Like, sometimes you watch it, and this isn't the only movie that does it, where you watch people are dying, and you're like, maybe we should put a little weight on those people that just died.
Oh, wait, what do you mean?
And it's not like, some random guy gets fucking smushed by a giant monster or something. It's like thousands of people, lots of buildings went down in that sequence. It was pretty...
What do you mean by put a weight on those people?
Have our characters acknowledge, not when they're in the middle of going after Khan. That's the character's priority.
The moment they knocked out Khan, they cut ahead. They would have to put in another scene in between knocking out Khan and Kirk waking up.
Okay.
To acknowledge
No.
Or between Kirk waking up and the speech. They would have to put in another scene there. And it would throw off the tone of the movie.
If you put another scene, here's my other scene. Kirk, hospital gown, looks out a window at the destruction. Not that simple, can get it done in 30 seconds, wouldn't it ruin the tone of the movie. Just put a little weight on what's happening.
Another question. How expensive would that scene be?
Who gives a shit?
The people paying for the movie.
I don't know. I don't know how much that shit costs.
It would cost a lot.
But apparently you're a genius that a 30-second scene, you could have added that. All right? And how much did those thousands of scenes that they cut cost?
I'm glad there wasn't...
shots and sequences that they cut.
I'm glad it wasn't there because the movie was less about the terrorist actions or the attacks on Earth. And it was more about the ship and Kirk's experience.
Didn't have to be that, and it's also reflective for the character. It's not like I don't even want to fucking stay on this point because it is small and insignificant. I'm just saying it happens a lot in movies. A lot of movies where all this destruction happens and our characters never acknowledge it.
Well, they
do it a lot of superhero
it off screen,
movies.
But I don't think when they make it, they probably have the thought of, should we put in a scene where they look at the destruction about it?
I mean,
or can we not do that because it's really not
And I thought
important?
that was part of the thing they were doing in that end scene, why they were giving a speech. They acknowledged that something happened a year ago. And the main thing they're probably talking about in that speech is not the probably not even 100, probably 100 people that died on the Enterprise, but the thousands of people that died when that ship crashed in San Francisco, the Enterprise headquarters. Because that's what I'd be talking about.
Or was it London?
No.
Yeah, it was San Francisco. I was seeing if I could catch you up.
London happened earlier. And they acknowledged that. They did acknowledge that.
There wasn't a speech about it.
People died.
There was a war meeting about it.
But you see, they didn't have a fucking speech during that thing where they needed to acknowledge it. They had a war room, and they realized it was a situation, and it was a terrorist
They
attack.
skipped a year. What, do you think they would save the memorial speech for a year after the event?
If
or
it
for
was
a
an
week
exact
after the
year.
event?
Dude, you know how many times they give 9/11 memorial speeches?
And aren't you sick of it?
Oh, yeah. But, a year afterwards, not really that sick. See, especially in an event that's completely related to it.
It doesn't bug me that it wasn't in the movie. There's realistic movies and then shit that most likely happened in the movie universe that I don't care about.
But thousands of people died.
And I don't care about watching a memorial service for them during a movie.
I mean, I thought it was pretty brutal when Scotty fucking killed that guy. In the airlock. Guys, let's say, what's going on? What are you doing?
He was working for a bad guy. We don't care if he dies.
But he wasn't shooting at him.
He had a gun pointed at his head. So,
but like, that was his job.
So, everyone that dies in a movie, should we stop and say, acknowledge this death is something that happened?
I just thought it was an unnecessarily brutal death. That one was. When they were killing all the Klingons, fuck those guys. Because they were firing at them.
Klingons didn't make the first shot. They were being attacked. Acknowledge their deaths for being the victims of this brutal assault. You didn't have a problem with that.
They had to rescue Uhura.
And they didn't attack first either.
Yeah, it was
she was being threatened, but Khan started slaughtering them first.
But Klingons aren't human.
Neither Spock.
Just kidding.
Did we care when the Vulcan planet was destroyed and thousands of them were killed?
I think they need to put a little more weight on that scene too. But Star Wars does it too, the Alderaan thing, where it's like, we're gonna kind of acknowledge it, but and you're like,
they acknowledge Princess Leia's reactions, right?
Yeah, they did it.
But the other characters didn't have an emotional attachment to it.
They did do it better than Star Trek.
They didn't have an emotional attachment to it.
Because Star Trek, they kind of deal with Spock's thing.
All right, well,
but like no one else gave a shit.
All right. Earthquake happens in a foreign country you've never been to, have no relation to. 100,000 people die.
Yeah.
You're hurt by it, but you don't really have a huge emotional
okay, but this is not
feeling by it.
If I was near the earthquake or something I did or was a part of caused the earthquake, I would have more of an emotional connection to that earthquake.
With how that movie was set up, I think putting in a scene where they acknowledge the deaths of the people that died, it would break it
directly. That's why I think the looking at the window scene would be great, because it just gives a little more.
Then that scene
and it could mean multiple things. Okay?
The scene would be something entirely different. It'd be less of a bonding moment between Kirk and Spock where they understand each other more. And it'd be more of a, this is what happens if we fail to do our jobs.
Okay, Kirk...
It'd be an entirely different feeling
would contemplate his mortality while he's looking out the window. He'd also contemplate or think about all the lives he lost. That got lost. Think about how he can grow from this situation. The lives lost on the Enterprise, the lives lost.
And that would make the speech at the end entirely useless.
No, it wouldn't.
Because that's what he was giving the speech for.
But he thinks about it, and then a year later, you show the growth he has. Afterwards.
I just don't think it needed to be put in.
I'm just talking about
so I'll ask the
pet peeve
four people that watch this
in a movie.
Should movies stop to acknowledge the deaths of the fictional characters in movies? Even when they're unnamed characters?
When thousands of people die. Not when Stormtrooper Bob dies. Or the bad guys die.
Did they do it in
Watchmen?
Watchmen?
But when thousands of...
And why shouldn't we care about when the bad guys die?
And Watchmen did it better in the comics, where they it did better in the comic. But in the comic book, they acknowledged all the people that died.
So we should acknowledge the innocents that die, but not the ones doing their jobs.
That's what the entire 2.5-hour movie was, acknowledging their jobs.
Stormtroopers were just doing their jobs.
Yeah, but
it's not their fault they're working as soldiers for the ruling force in the galaxy.
But they're the bad guys. They're the Nazis. That's the same argument for, the Nazis were just doing their job. And stormtroopers
some of the Nazis were evil. The Nazi soldiers fighting on the front lines had nothing to do with genocide. They were fighting a war. They were fighting for their country. But we should hate them because they lost.
Because they were Nazis.
See, that's a biased view.
No. They're fucking Nazis. You're not going to win this argument.
No.
No. They're just doing their job. You know what?
Not the ones that committed genocide.
You know what?
Not the ones actively involved with the genocide of the Jewish people. But according to your logic, we should stop, and every time someone dies in a movie, we should stop and acknowledge the death.
When a fucking starship crashes into multiple buildings, killing thousands of people, yes, we should acknowledge that 9/11 happened.
And different movies do that based on the tone.
Don't tell me it wasn't 9/11.
The action sci-fi movie doesn't need us to stop in the middle of the action scene and go, oh my God, look at all the death.
But Star Trek can do that. Okay? It's Star Trek.
It would throw off the whole tone of the climax of the movie.
No, it wouldn't. Because they had multiple scenes where they talk about death.
Yeah, before that happened, Will. Before the scene happened, they were talking about death.
No, where they deal with death and the weight and heaviness of death. That's
and
a
all
major
those scenes
theme in the
that
movie,
you're talking about where they were dealing with the weight of death happened before the starship crashed.
No, even afterwards, they acknowledge what death means when Kirk and Spock are looking at each other and they're talking about it.
They were acknowledging.
Okay.
In that memorial service about the attack on the Enterprise.
Okay.
It wasn't for the people that got killed when a starship crashed into Earth.
Enterprise directly related to the fucking thousands of people dying.
It wasn't for them. It was for the victims of the Enterprise. There was probably multiple different memorial services for the people that lost their lives from the starship crashing, but it wasn't important to the movie and plot and characters as much as the Enterprise was. It was, if they had an idea for it, it was cut for a reason.
I want a little weight when thousands of people die in our movie. In a movie, okay? It's like I'm really reviewing because I always refer to it our movie, our heroes.
You're wrong. Movies. There are movies where when these terrible things happen, we acknowledge it. But it shouldn't be in the middle of an action sci-fi film.
And death.
It shouldn't be in the climax of an action sci-fi film. That's not the time to say,
I'm not
look
saying
at all
the
this
climax.
senseless death and destruction.
I said at the resolution. I just think it's a problem. It could have been better.
The resolution of that movie was when Khan got knocked unconscious.
No, that's not the resolution.
Ending, or even if you could say
that entire sequence,
epilogue,
after the climax is the fucking resolution until those credits roll.
The resolution is the solving of the problem. The speech at the end was, if anything, an epilogue and closing words. A resolution is the solution.
Okay, Jimmy. I think the epilogue could have been better. I'm not even that angry about it. Okay? I'm just pointing out a pet peeve I have, a cliche that annoys me in movies.
And the cliche doesn't make sense to me because there are movies where they acknowledge the deaths. But they don't do it in the climax of an action sci-fi movie or the action sci-fi movies as much.
Jimmy. Again,
it's different.
Not in the climax, because in the climax that would have killed the momentum. But in the resolution, when the momentum's done and you can have a second to breathe.
I feel in Star Trek it would have ruined the tone. Suddenly the ending would have been, that didn't need to be there.
God forbid I just have like a short little thing of someone looking out the window. That wouldn't have killed fucking anything.
I think it would have made the scene not nearly as good.
What scene? I'm adding a new scene.
What? No, you said looking out the window when Kirk was in the hospital at the beginning of this.
I mean, after he gets in the bed, he's going to stand up and look in the window while he's healing.
You know,
it's not that
what
bad.
I think would have been better?
Empire did it.
Empire, they weren't looking over a scene of destruction.
Okay.
They were looking over the rebel fleet.
And you know what? Action movies do it. Lord of the Rings doesn't.
Where they look at the deaths?
When people die and they say, oh, this is serious that all these people are dying. because of what we're doing. Yes, this is the focus on the characters, but when people die in the battles of Helm's Deep, has a little weight to it.
It does, but I don't think Star Trek needed to have a scene where they acknowledge personally the deaths of the people from the Star Trek.
Where like people die and
they acknowledged deaths of the victims of the people that died on the Enterprise in the memorial service to the Enterprise.
Okay, and maybe I wouldn't have said anything if it didn't remind me of 9/11. Okay. And you know what? I wouldn't have even brought up 9/11 if the movie didn't bring up 9/11.
You know what? The entire country needs to let 9/11 go.
I don't think so.
They just need to stop acting like 9/11 affects every aspect of their lives.
I think we need to, move on, but we shouldn't forget 9/11.
They should stop acting like it affects every aspect
I'm gonna
of their
say
lives,
this
because I hate that shit.
That fucking post-credit message was completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yes, we're all thinking 9/11, but you know what?
I honestly,
there's nothing. Well, I was thinking
because I was still in the movie. I don't like to be in the movie and suddenly think, oh, well, this is obviously meaning this and this and this during the movie. It takes me out of the film.
Well, that's a big part of why I like movies, because I can relate it to my life.
I'll do that after, but I hate doing that during the film.
I do it during, because my brain does not turn off when I'm watching a movie. It never does. I'm always
Neither does my brain. I'm not in the theater going...
for the most part, a lot of the connections do happen, but that one... I'm so ingrained with that image, so when I see a ship, something fly into a building, a ship, any kind, fly into a building, the first thing I think is 9/11. And it's not like I'm looking way too deep into the movie at this juncture.
I know, and I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, when I watch a movie, I want to get more caught up in the movie. And I don't like to sit back and just go, well, this relates to this real-world issue, and this relates to this real-world issue. Instead, I just want to sit back during movie, not during reflection on the movie, during movie, and just let it play out.
But
I hate when I'm watching a movie and someone goes, this means this. If you had leaned over to me during that scene and go, this means 9/11, I would have hit you.
I didn't do it because I thought everybody got it.
I knew it after the movie. And because I didn't need to see the ending. In fact, I just don't notice these things during the movie because I don't want to notice them during the movie.
Okay. I don't shut off my brain.
It's not shutting off your brain. It's allowing yourself to be caught up in a fictional world.
I get immersed, but when I'm even in any environment, I'm going to use my fucking real-world experiences
You're making it seem
to relate
like
to
anyone
it and draw myself into the movie more, because I can relate to my life.
You're making it seem like anyone who doesn't make those real-world connections as they're experiencing it, watch it like an idiot. Watch or read things like idiots.
Okay. All right, but everybody does it, and you can't even tell me you don't do it, that you don't relate your real life.
I do it
to... And you do
movie.
it subconsciously while you're watching it, maybe. And maybe...
But I never have those thoughts of, this means 9/11!
To get it where it's consciously, but subconsciously, you get reminded of stuff in a movie.
Subconsciously, but if the movie's doing its job, I'm not
if there's a
actively thinking of real-world things.
You're subconsciously remembering a friendship you've had. And when,
But if
when
a
character relationship you really are drawn to.
I get that, but I don't.
It's because of.
I don't care during the movie.
I'm just saying it's subconscious. Why are you arguing with me?
I don't care about it during the movie.
I'm just explaining something.
During the movie, I don't care about what real world thing I feel about it.
I do. All right. And in this case, when I saw that, it reminded me of a big event in everybody's life.
It was not a big event in your life, Will. We didn't know anyone that shipped...
I'm going to...
Will, I'm being honest with you. I'm going over this with you. We didn't know anyone that got shipped off to Afghanistan.
Okay.
During that time, that got shipped off. We didn't know anyone that died in the attack. We didn't know who attacked us for the longest time. We didn't even know what was going on for most of that day.
Okay, Jimmy. Let me...
It was a terrible event,
Jimmy. Okay, it was. I'm not saying it was,
but it didn't as personally affect
families of people that died in there. Okay, it's not as big of an event, but it's a big event in everybody's life, in every American's life, Jimmy. Just like it was a big event in America when the president dies. Okay. when JFK got assassinated.
Because it didn't change you as a person.
But it influenced
it changed the world.
How the world.
Sure.
So thus, it was a significant event
so
in
many
my
things
life.
Changed the world.
But I remember that vividly. Okay, I know you were younger than me. You were.
I remember that day,
old.
Will. I remember that day.
Did it have an effect? Do you have an opinion about it? Do you have an opinion on what's happening overseas? Our foreign policy directly caused because of this event?
Honestly, I barely have an opinion on those because they don't really affect my everyday life.
Okay.
I'm more concerned with what's affecting my everyday life.
But apparently you have an opinion about it, and it had a big effect on your life because you have an opinion on how we feel about it.
I think people should let these big disaster things and big attacks just stop obsessing about them.
Okay. And it was...
Because honestly, as long as Americans are still going, oh God, 9/11 was such a terrible thing, the people that caused the attack did what they meant to. As long as we continue to freak out about it, they did what they wanted.
That's the worst thing, Jimmy. They did.
People need to stop
exactly
acting
what they did.
Like it happened yesterday.
I agree with that. But I'm not acting like that. I'm just saying it was a...
And people just need to stop dedicating movies to it.
It's a big event, and the thing is, I don't think they needed to say anything with that movie.
They should have.
They had the post-credit
That
thing.
did take me out of the film.
I did. I was like...
That post-credit thing, I'm like... It was like the same thing with Halo 4 with me. At the end of Halo 4, they're just like, we want to thank you for letting us do this world and stuff and picking us. And they sold that game the same day as Election Day. But I'm just like, why would you add that? It doesn't need to be there.
They could have done it at the very end.
If they'd done it at the end of the credits,
like at the end of the thing.
But they did it before the credits.
Like it was like
you're like
I don't mind it when it's like someone on the crew died and something, and you're like doing a memorial to that guy.
Yeah, that's different.
But like you know the 9/11 like again.
Why
it
was the newest Star Trek
years ago
made 12 years after 9/11 occurred? Being devoted to 9/11.
Well, the reason why is because that scene is very 9/11-esque.
They didn't need to say it.
And you know what?
They didn't need to dedicate that movie to him.
And maybe that's part of the reason I'm getting a little worked up about this is because it was, you know, that event. It's not like... It's kind of like if they had like... Oh, I don't want to equate 9/11 to the Holocaust because there's no contest. But let's say the tsunami in Japan. Something that was very similar to the tsunami in Japan. This is a Japanese film. Right? Something very similar. And then they kind of like brush over it. I think kind of like if you're going to acknowledge that it's 9/11. American flag. I was trying to see what's with that car. If you're going to have something that's 9/11, and you know it's 9/11, you're going to acknowledge it's 9/11. If it's going to be an event like that, the scene needs to have a little more weight.
I mean, either way.
Anyway, it was a fantastic movie.
I'm going to give my closing thoughts. You give your closing thoughts.
Oh, I'm not done talking about the movie.
I don't have anything to say about the movie.
Well,
honestly.
I was trying to bring something up.
I know, and we get into arguments about different points of it, but...
Okay.
So in my opinion...
Can I bring up something before we have closing thoughts? Okay. I wanted to talk about the scene where they're on the airship and they're fighting. I want to talk about 2 points real quick. I kind of brought something up earlier, but we kind of brushed over it. Okay, I like the scene where they're fighting on the airship. And you know why I liked it? It reminded me of the tank in Last Crusade.
Okay.
Spock's fighting. I thought that was cool. Like, there were a couple, and the beginning scene with the natives was, like, very Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was a lot of fun. I thought it was, and I thought it'd be interesting to talk about in it. Like, it does bring up about the heaviness of death, which the original Wrath of Khan did. And I think Wrath of Khan did it better. I still think it's a better movie. But this, not to diss on this film, but Wrath of Khan had its thesis a little better. Explained it. But I did find it interesting when it was, you know, because it was Khan, and you think he's gonna be a good guy for a while. It's kind of like.
Did you honestly think that?
Well, in a way, because Khan only was evil because of something.
I think they were just trying to make.
Khan was always kind of shifty, but Khan was that dangerous, that evil, because Kirk was the one that sent him on the planet in the original series, and when everything went on, he got like crazy with revenge and
I think
stuff, and
I think what it was they were trying to make Khan more relatable in this one.
I want to say relatable.
Well, that's what they're doing, because they brought the whole thing of I'll do anything to protect my family with yours and stuff. I think it wasn't that they were trying to make Khan seem like a good guy. That they were more trying to make Khan a more relatable character. Because from now compared to when
episode, so I gotta
from how we look at things now, from how we viewed it when Star Trek II came out, we want our villains to be more relatable and complex.
Well,
as a group, we want to see more. We want to. We want to relate more to the characters than just in Star Trek II. It was kind of just established. We're the good guys. They're the bad guys.
Well,
all he wants is revenge.
I don't.
That's what it showed.
Khan's all unrelatable.
In the Wrath of Khan, that's all it was, and they kept saying that all he cared about was revenge.
I'm gonna argue that okay, yes, but I don't think he's not a complex character as Khan. I think the reason, Batman's thing is like, oh, you can explain it in a sentence, but he's still a complex character. I think Khan is a complex character, why he's doing it, but like he will stop. The thing is, in both versions, they talk about stopping. Khan will stop at nothing to achieve his goals.
Yeah.
This one, Khan will stop at nothing to take down Kirk, and that's his downfall.
That wasn't
in the
this
movie,
one,
where he will stop at nothing.
That was,
and it's the same downfall, right?
In the one we just watched, his goal was not to kill Kirk.
No, but in Wrath of Khan it is. In this one, it's to protect his family.
Yeah.
His family.
But here's my point.
Which
here's my point. In Wrath of Khan, there was the whole thing of, we have a ship, you have a crew, we can do whatever we want. Khan knew this, but instead chose to go after Kirk. He was only fixated on revenge. And just purely revenge-driven characters, as a society, we don't care about as much. We don't really care about. We get the motivation, but we don't care about them as characters as much. Then, when they institute Khan, in this one, who's a character that is trying to protect his crew. And he's doing whatever it takes to protect his crew.
I thought...
And we get that, and that they're just... Khan and Kirk are just on different sides of that. Their interests don't work well with each other. And their views on things don't mesh. But they have the same goal in mind, to protect their crew. And when Khan is viewed as like that, he seems more complex and more relatable to the moviegoer. From someone who's just revenge-driven to someone that more wants to protect his crew.
I did not feel that way at all. I prefer Ricardo Montalban's Khan. I thought he was more not okay. Let me.
I agree with you that the performance was better.
Let me speak my point. I thought Khan was a more interesting character, and I think a lot of it does have to do with his relationship to Kirk. Kirk is a complex character in any Star Trek iteration. This one, it's not as complex. Like, I read somewhere that these are kind of parodies of the Star Trek characters, but Kirk in Wrath of Khan is very complex. You know what he's going through. He's like, it's really like, there's the reason why I think it's the best Star Trek is it deals with these issues of getting older and stuff and losing, and Kirk faces loss, which they kind of did in this one too. Just not, the loss isn't as powerful, which is why I wanted it. If it was going to be something, it's a kind of reimagining of Wrath of Khan, and what makes Wrath of Khan so great is how powerful the loss is. That said, I think Khan, because he is the counterpoint to Kirk, like the Joker and Batman, whatever like his single-minded goal is, because of Kirk, it makes him more interesting because it's the counterpoint. And he wasn't really the counterpoint to Kirk in this. He wasn't. And I don't think he had as strong of a presence. Like in both movies, you can understand why he's doing what he's doing. But I think I don't know, he seemed... I don't know why I didn't like it as much. And like, it's not that I didn't like it. I thought he did a good job. But it's kind of like hard to fill those shoes of Khan.
I can tell you why right now why you didn't like the new Khan as much.
Why?
You didn't see as much sexy man chest. That's what was missing, sexy man chest.
He needed to be more Latin. Muscular.
All right, here's my thing. In the new one, as opposed to Wrath of Khan, they tried to make Khan seem like a more complex and relatable character. But performance-wise, the performance in Wrath of Khan was better than the new one. And because the performance was so much better, we were more drawn into the character. I think they set out to try and make him seem more relatable, but they couldn't get the performance to keep up.
I think Khan leaves more of an impact because what he does to our main characters, even though, like, yes, you both kill like a main character of the series, even though Pike's only a main character in this series, but they both do stuff to break Captain. Oh, well, they kill Kirk. He kills Kirk.
Yeah.
Inadvertently, and
well, it's less about attacking Kirk, which is the main difference.
Ruin the Enterprise and stuff. The thing is, like, again, my point is, I wish it was heavier because it would have been more powerful. When Kirk loses everything, as he does in Wrath of Khan. I did think, like, but whenever all the twists that J.J. Abrams does seems really like the twist in Wrath of Khan, where they're in the Genesis planet and they're all, like, solemn, and Kirk's like, beam us up, Scotty, and, he has a plan in his head about the no-win scenario. I thought that seemed like a very... Like, J.J. Abrams just, like, saw that scene and it totally, like, that was the tone he wanted to make for Star Trek.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting what they said about how history kind of repeats itself in Destiny, which kind of was what they were doing in the first Star Trek, where even though, like, all these different events happened, everything gets shifted because of Nero coming back through time and killing Kirk's father, so everything gets shifted. And but they still, like, get into the same roles that they're supposed to be in. Like, Kirk becomes captain and stuff. And Kirk, the same Wrath of Khan ending with the reactor and the radiation and them dying and do the live long and prosper. It still happens.
So,
and I think that's interesting. I wish they played it up a little more in this. They played it up well in the first one. Wish they played it up. It's weird. That movie is like 2 hours, 20 minutes. But you know how I always have, like, the 15-minute thing? Like, this movie should have been 15 minutes shorter. I think this one needed to be 15 minutes longer. Surprisingly. Like they needed to take a little more time. That's a lot of it. Like, the resolution kind of seemed rushed to me. I do think they needed a little more weight on what just happened. Because a lot did happen. And, they, like, hate to make this comparison, but like the end of Empire, where even though this one did have a happy ending as opposed to Empire, but, you kind of have weight on just, yeah, this happened. Kind of sucked.
All right. This is how I want to, like, end these review videos for now, just with the question, are you going to watch it in theaters again?
Probably not. I mean, if I got the opportunity, I wouldn't mind. I thought it was a fun flick. It was really cool. But
I'm not going to say I'll never watch this movie again, but I'm in no hurry or rush to watch this movie again. If I don't watch it again, I don't think I'm going to lose anything. But I enjoyed it when I watched it.
That was good. As the 12th movie in a franchise, kind of, I'll say it's the 8th, I guess, because it's the original trilogy movies. I mean, the original series.
All right.
Fucking Star Wars. But like the 8th movie in a franchise because it's the original series, strictly original series movies. It did good, It still feels like Star Trek. Or Star Trek by way of Star Wars, but the characters are still there. It's just, I like being in that universe. I like seeing those characters interact with each other. The interaction and chemistry is still there. I didn't think it was as strong as the first one, or as fun, but if they made a third one, I'm gonna be first in line.
No, you won't.
I'll be like fourth in line.
We weren't even first in line on this one.
I don't know. I didn't know there was a midnight on Wednesday. No one was in the theater because they changed the date, so everybody for the midnight. Whatever.
All right.
Is that your stomach?
No.
Did you hear that? It's like a growl. Like a dog growling.
All right, well, let's wrap this up.
All right.
Bye.
I didn't get my closing thoughts.
Oh, you totally did.